You've scouted a ton of gates. Time to react. Where's that roach warren? You're being all in. You should be putting 2 and 2 together right now. You've seen a ton of gateways and no tech. There is nothing this could be except an all in. So he already fucked up by not realizing that's an all in, guys. You know, he saw multiple gateways and nothing else. You know, there's a fast robo as well. Fast robo is a big tell in of itself. These are huge tells. Saw everything, but didn't seem to realize that robo first is often a fast all in or big ass pressure. Extra gates after with no other tech equals holy shit 100% all in. If they go 4+ gates. So what do you do to react, guys? Roaches, spines, wings, ravages, queens. Now right now, he's making a +1. Super unimportant. Why would you go for an upgrade that's not going to finish in time and is valuable gas? Every 4 roaches worth of gas is super valuable. Shouldn't have gone for +1. That, however, is a good surround, guys. To be fair, I think he would have died if I didn't tell him. Because he wasn't paying attention to his scouting. Wasn't adding 2 and 2 together. What timing is a fast robo? It's just their first tech structure, which in a pro game will normally go down about 2 minutes 30, but depends on the build. Could be as late as about 250. Thing is, you might miss what time the robo went down. Maybe you don't see that. Maybe you're not sure. But he saw so many things. He saw just a robo, no other tech. He saw 4 gateways. Actually, I think he saw 5 gateways. He saw 4 building and the one at the front. Like, there's so many signs of an all-in that he saw. It's like, you see just one, you should already be like, oh, double up my scouting. Maybe start making a round of units to start being safe. Take an extra gas. Then you go, oh, okay, now I see one other sign of all-in. Let's just react as if it's an all-in.
Metamorphosis complete. Mineral field depleted.
See how OCD I am, guys? I'm like, eh. So I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to tell him. But this is... I've seen this happen with a lot of players I coach. I feel like the answer to this is just prioritization. Why are you not watching the minimap? Well, he's getting better at reasserting map control on the minimap. Like, you can see he's spread some units out. But there's been a full minute now with that unit on his minimap, and he still hasn't noticed. And this is just crazy. Now he gets an attack warning, and that's when he noticed. That's crazy, man. He needs to watch his minimap more. Whenever you re-establish map control and finish a macro, you know, pull your army to a safe spot where you don't need to feel like you have to stare at it constantly, and keep doing macro cycles. Yeah. So we're gonna check in this replay 8 minutes. What the fuck are we doing with our APM and attention? That's a big thing we need to do when we look at the replay, because I think he's just haphazardly doing things, and he's not watching. He's not paying attention. So it's a big. That's like this. Ugh, it's terrible. Terrible. This is really basic stuff. I say that it's really basic stuff, which even top level players make this mistake sometimes. It's where your brain just gets in a sort of redundant cycle of wasting your APM on really unimportant things. He's just frozen up in this crazy low drone count now as well. So what are the decision making in the follow-up of this? He's adding some more drones, but he doesn't seem to be very clear in terms of what does he want to be achieving and doing right now. He's got 4 billion Zerglings and Banelings. He needs to use those Links and Banes right now. Now that's a common thing we see him do, where he clicks his army into their base, and the front units run in, and they just die. He does this every game as well. This is something which he keeps doing. Still notice, whenever you attack, you click your army right into their base from across the map, and your frontlings suicide. You do this almost every game in every matchup. If we break this habit and instead click outside their base by a screen or two and group up and then attack, we can give you a huge boost to your effectiveness. And he should be watching the minimap whilst macroing. So the whole problem with the haphazard macro is I think he's not watching his minimap while he's macroing, because he's just trying to remember what he's supposed to be doing at each moment. GG, well played. How you feel about that one, man?
That was sporadic.
Let's watch the replay together. I think that's the best thing we could do. I think we've got plenty of different things to talk about. Opening's fine. You are steadily getting better and better at asserting map control. This is one thing we've seen you know, start to develop. It's doing really good. I still feel like there's a point in the mid game where... Oh, you just left the party. What's going on there?
Yeah, sorry, I was just sorting the sound out a little bit.
Okay, no worries. Just when you're ready, hop back in with that. Yeah, I feel like there's a point where you get a bit too much adrenaline. I think too much excitement thrown out of your element. I think in the mid game, you kind of don't have as many set things you do, and that's kind of StarCraft, right? You can always have to adapt a lot from the mid game onwards. But I think we want to give you some actions that are sort of the core of what you should be doing, right? It's something you always return to, and this is the anchor of making sure you're doing certain things. Because while you are keeping up with your spending a bit, there's a few bad habits from the mid game onwards. In that game, it was not watching your minimap at all, which is sometimes hurting you quite a bit. Okay, you're back in. Let me get you in, get Rocky in. Rocky says, gotta go, thanks to the game. Oh, that's a shame.
Thanks, Rocky.
Alright, we need another Protoss player, guys. Please, any Protoss players who are around, within a couple hundred MMR of 4,200, since Logic won that one, we can definitely go someone who's a little bit harder. So, anyone, 43, 4,400 preferably, but anyone who's in the general range, please do hop into Chat Channel Pig, come play some games with us. And, excuse me, and that should be awesome. So, first things first, let's, we're going to fast forward through this replay. I had to pipe up and say, hey, he's all inning you, man. What are you doing? So, what was going on with the early scouting?
I saw all the gates, and then I was waiting for... I think I was trying to get I got Overlord speed to get that information, and then I was waiting for a move out of his natural.
What were you going to do when he moved out?
I was going to try to duck in.
Just with a couple Zerglings or something?
Yeah.
Where do you stop droning? If someone's doing a big 2-base all-in like that, where they're building a ton of gateways on 2-base, how many drones do you have before you start massing units to be safe? Or do you just always wait for them to push out and then build units?
Kind of the latter, but...
That's cool.
Over-droning has been more of a problem than under-droning with me in ZvP. And that's what I meant how that wave will just hit me and I'll be like, holy shit, I have nothing. Or it's just like, I have, you know, I don't have Ravagers, I don't have Banes, I can't wrap them around with Lings.
Yep.
And, yeah.
So at this point in the game, so that's fine. I think that's something where, yeah, you need to have a set idea, right? And part of this is going to be understanding your opponent's side of things. Right now, I'm watching the camera from your point of view. Fuck that. Let's change views, man. Let's go to his point of view. This is a really important exercise, especially when you get to Diamond League. Once in a while, you need to understand what the hell your opponent's builds do. There's a certain point where, once in a while, watching a replay or a pro game, rather than thinking about it from the Zerg perspective, think about it from the Terran or the Protoss perspective and really understand their builds so you know what everything means. So I'm going to go ahead and analyze it here for you, but try to do this on your own whenever you get surprised by an all-in or an attack. Don't just say, oh, he killed me with 12 adepts at 5 minutes. Go right back and look at how he got to that point and how he needed to do things in a certain order. And you're going to realize, if you recognize what a standard macro opening looks like, you're going to recognize the deviations from that a lot better, right? So in this game, let's go back and I'll talk you through all the little details of why this is a bit of a cheeky build.
Man, walrus handled.
Oh yeah, he just got just crushed, man. I kind of wish we had like a giant infestor unit that could just do that move, or it just slugs onto units and just kind of crushes them with its belly. I linked your little doco there in Discord. Get that open, because there are little points which I should talk about since we're at the start of the replay. First one first, Overlord. If you're gonna go, you go Overlord speed every Zerg versus Protoss, yeah? Good. As long as you do it every game, I'm happy with it. Keep it up. Don't do that thing where like, I do it one game and then I won't do it the next, but I'll forget to pull off gas, so I'm kind of inefficient, but I'm not. And just do the same thing every game. That's awesome. First, Overlord's got to be a lot safer in this scenario, right? You are investing in making sure you get a scout off. You don't need to scout with your Overlord at the start. Now, if this Stalker of his immediately ran up, he would have sniped your Overlord, and you can't afford losses like that. When you go for Overlord speed, you're already cutting a lot of economy to kind of get the gas, get the upgrade. That's a lot of money going towards something which doesn't help you build your economy. It doesn't help you fight. It just gives you info. So if you lose an Overlord, it's just shit. So make sure your Overlord always just goes to like the pervert spot or the back of the natural, somewhere safe, and that's going to be a lot more reliable. Now, I noticed your second Overlord also kind of chills at home. Not the biggest deal because you do go for Overlord speed every game. So you can pretty much always scout with the first one, but there's no reason for him not to have already been rallied across. Instead, you know, you've got to wait for this second Overlord, and he takes forever to get over there. So it's like, why not just have already queued up the second Overlord to get over to the other side of the map?
And that other Overlord just kind of takes the place of that one.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if it was slow Overlord, you'd put you're on everyone's cam, yeah?
Yep, yeah, I can see pings.
Yeah, bam and bam. Normally you'd have them. Because of this one, it's normally, yeah, just have one on both sides. Maybe you fly in, there's a Stalker right there. You're like, oh shit, this Overlord has to turn around. Your other Overlord comes in. Just makes it super easy to scout having two Overlords near his base in case your opponent does try to snipe down your speed Overlords. Makes it nice and easy. So, small thing there. Don't lose that first Overlord. He could have punished you this game.
I was a bit surprised those Lings got in. They gave me a bit of information.
Yeah.
So
and just kind of throws them off as well.
A third, because that'll change his plans. If he sees that third base, he knows I'm not massing heaps of stuff.
Yep. Definitely gives him an element of safety. You can still do all-ins off this for sure. So, you know, the Protoss player normally does like to confirm with, say, an Adept Shade or something like that. You know, oh, you've actually built drones. It's not just like a fake third. But, yeah, I wouldn't care about him spotting your third base. Like, just get it down. Doesn't matter. So you get in, you know, you don't really do much with these Zerglings. They don't really achieve all that much. And that's okay. That's fine. You see what's going on. You hide a Zergling in the base. It's all good. Let's fast forward to the scouting. So, oh, holy shit. Actually, no, let's not do that. This is something I missed. What's wrong with this production tab right now? Watch it. Watch it. Whoa. What's going on there? Because you got a ton of... yeah, you end up with a ton of lava here, which you can't spend because you dumped all your minerals into 4 Overlords.
I think that might have been my habit of when my roaches pop out and then I have to transfer them to Ravagers so I don't have the supply. So So I think that might have just been one of my safety reactions, but 39 from 76, 41 from 76.
Yeah. I think having one extra Overlord, I'm always behind someone who's like, I've got 15 free supply the whole game. I'm like, fine, I don't mind, man. If you're not playing in GSL, it's totally cool. But definitely that's excessive. So one extra Overlord's always fine. That was a big little mistake there, which did slow you down. So,
Like
sorry?
The roach, that was like 300 plus minerals.
Yeah, exactly. That slows down your economy build up a fair bit. So now let's go to the scouting and thinking about his build. So if we look at, sorry, I was wanting to analyze his build, but then I got distracted by Overlords. Okay, here we go. So his build, standard expand build. He's got the 2 gases up now. He's going to start saturating his natural. He's going to make an adept and a stalker. Yep, this is very standard Protoss stuff. Now, the next thing for a Protoss player is what does he use his next gas on? Does he make a mothership core straight away, or does he make tech? Either way, he's going to be getting his tech structure somewhere between 2 minutes 30 and 3 minutes. Occasionally, you'll get someone who's a bit inefficient, drops it down 310. But their first tech structure, and often a second tech structure, comes down at this time, right? Usually it's Stargate, and then maybe a Twilight, or maybe it's a Robo and a Twilight for something like DTs. There's a few different options here. We see he's going Mothership Core and Stalker. So his tech's going to come down a little bit later. That's fine.
In about 2 minutes. Yeah. Oh yeah, warp gate.
And here we see his first tech structure. Yeah. Now, could this be an Archon drop?
With only 2 gas. Maybe.
Gas isn't important at this point. He wouldn't normally take that till later. So this is
only one.
What else? What other tech does he actually need for Archon drop?
Templar Archives.
Yeah, he's got to get the DT Shrine. So it's got to go Twilight, then DT Shrine. So that takes way longer than getting a Robo and a Prism out. So you've got to actually go Twilight before Robo to do that build. So if they go Robo first like this, there's basically very few options. They can build some Immortals and try to kill you, like he did. Immortals and a Prism.
How much gas was that? Robo again?
Robo's 100 gas. All the tech structures are 100 except for the Stargate, which is 150. So they're all kind of around the same. But yeah, with Overlord speed, you're always going to see everything, right? So if you just see a Robo, you should be like, okay, this guy's friggin' all-inning me 100%, right? What else could he do? Maybe he's not going to all-in. Maybe he's going to just make a Prism and a bunch of Adepts, and he's just going to do some Adept pressure but have a Prism with it. Oh yeah, he could technically do that. How many gateways does he need to do that? 3. At most 4, and even that's a big commitment. What we're going to see here from him, as you see, and you see everything in game. Okay, he's just probing up. Still looks like it could just be that pressure. Still no other tech, so we immediately at this point would be like, hold on, buddy. What the frack are you going to do behind this? Okay. And here we go. At this point, 5 gateways. 4 gateways is already like, whoa, this guy's putting on some serious pressure. Anything more than 3 is abnormal, right? 4 is a bit of serious pressure. Above 4, you just treat it as if it's an all-in, because it pretty much is. And we can see here, he's not planning to take these gases on his natural, right? He's pretty much capped out his probe count. He's going to cut probes. He actually could have cut a few sooner. He doesn't need this many on his natural. And he's just going to make a ton of Adepts with his Warp Prism and try to kill you, right? Very simple all-in. Now, why is this so weak? No gas on the natural. So think about all the things that have ruined your day as a Zerg player. Psystorm, 6+ Immortals, Archons plus Immortals, charge lots, sick Protoss upgrades. None of those things are mineral heavy. So whenever a Protoss cuts gas like this, their transition is so slow and shit that you actually end up kind of being on equal terms with them in terms of fighting. Because they're basically playing like a Zerg. They're making shit low-cost units that are very mineral heavy. Adepts, Zealots, these units are basically like Roaches and Zerglings, right? They're not going to spiral out of control. If he sits back on a 4-base economy, and you're like, oh, fuck, if he's making Storm and Immortals. If he's just making unupgraded Zealots and Adepts, you're like, lol. I could beat that with a 3-base economy easily. I don't care, right? So these units are just terrible. So he doesn't have a good transition, and he doesn't have many follow-ups or many paths you can go into off this. It's very simple, just kind of like a one attack. If you stop it, you will kill it.
If he was going to expand, it'd be around that 4.5 minute timing. Because he's, from my thinking, which is you know, primary school level.
No, it's not. It's much better
It's
than
got
that.
about 4, 5, 6 gateways,
Yeah.
which is more than enough on the stream to chuck a third, another pylon, or a forge or something. Instead of this whole, I need to either defend or attack.
Yeah,
My
he,
gateway.
he could, and he wouldn't really have any tech for it, right? Because no Forge, no Twilight, yeah. He could do that, but it wouldn't go down until a bit later. Like, he's always got to use these gateways to warp in off, right? If he doesn't warp in off them and just takes the third base, it's like literally just a terrible third base build. But you are right to think about, okay, what about a third base? Definitely, you know, that's something he could follow up with at some point, but it's not going to hit until much later. Like, you don't even really need to think about it. You can just play your all as if it's an all-in. Have a Zergling at each third base, which you do have, and you'll see if he goes for a third behind it. So here, you're going to see, oh, he's going for a pylon mothership core. He's going to take that third. Okay. But is he really going to be able to defend it? Like, if you defend this attack, you just win the game. You did a pretty good hold here. A few more Ravages would have been absolutely stunning, as with the Queen. Oh, your Queen did click on the button. Good job. But yeah, as it is, you're like, okay, crush the attack. Bam, bam. Thank you, ma'am. You cancel his third, he's fucked, right? So even though he built a third base, it's not a real third base. He didn't have any other tech. Look at his base, right? There's no Forge, no Twilight. No Archon tech. There's nothing he can build except basic shitty units. So they're just not going to scale as well as your Zerg things. So let's think about that one more time. We go back. We've spotted the extra gateways. We know he's not taking his extra gases probably, even if he chooses to. We're going to treat this as an all-in with the information you had. You don't see that extra gas. Oh, actually you did with the Zergling, lol. But anyway, treat it as if it's just 2 mineral lines and the gases. How many probes is that? 16 probes on each minerals plus the 6 on gas. How many probes is that in total?
38.
Yep. So that's a 38 probe economy. You always want to stop droning with a small yet safe lead of that. Now, against this sort of attack where he's cutting gas in an even game, you can maybe get a couple of drones ahead of that. You could maybe get away with getting a lot more drones than that. Off the top of your head, what do you feel like is a safe lead above 38 probes for you to be at on your 3 base?
Safe. 19, 16. About 8 or 10 on my third.
How many gas geysers would you have with that?
I'd say 2 just for the Ravages, but then I think we only need about 4 or 5 Ravages, wouldn't we?
You actually want to have a lot more gas. If your opponent goes for glaives or charge or something like that, or gets a certain critical mass of adepts, maybe a few good force fields, Zerglings aren't that great. So in those situations, having more Roaches and especially more Ravages is very key. You're not always going to be able to get this very nice surround. So usually actually taking a faster third gas against an all-in is really important. And you're going to see here in the follow-up to this attack, you were floating a lot of minerals because you didn't have enough gas. And this is very normal. So This is super normal. Your ratio gets way out. So it's very important to take a third gas. So if we think about it, 3 gases, that's 9 drones, plus 2 mineral lines is 32. So that's 41 drones. If you had 8 drones on your third, which was your estimate before, that would be 49 workers, right? 48, 49 workers, which is, I think that's a good number. You're up about 10 workers on the Protoss. It's a bit of a healthy lead. You could definitely cut it closer, especially if your opening wasn't very clean. But in this game, we saw you stopped right around that worker count. You had enough units to stop it, even while being short on gas and Ravages. And you built 4 Overlords early on as well. So you weren't particularly efficient with your opening. So I think that's always a good way to think about it is he's on 2 base. He's not even taking the gases. That's basically 1.5 base economy. I'm just going to get a couple gases, 3 gases, and just have my third base half saturated. You do that, you're going to be in a beautiful stead. So you always want to think about things in those sort of terms. Where do I cut my workers? Obviously, you see him pushing out really fast. You can just go, oh, fuck, panic, build units earlier than normal. But the big problem with what you were doing this game is you spotted a ton of gateways going down, a robo, no other tech. It's very likely an all-in. And you basically always want to react that way. And you just kind of made a lair, which doesn't help you at all. And you didn't have any defensive tech structure.
Oh yeah, roach speed, that's what I was trying to get. I was just screaming, looking at my gas, and I was like, well, I could make 1 Ravager, or I could make 3 roaches, and then I'm like, no, I need the speed. I need the speed.
So yeah, speed is the last thing you should be thinking about. If he's taking both gases, he's taking maybe a fake third base or something. He's going up in like a 50 or 55 probe all in. Roach speed's going to actually impact that. In this game, you also made another mistake. You went for +1 range. And what is the crucial moment? The crucial moment is shutting down his attack. We explained why before. Remember, he has no follow-up tech. He has no transition. He probably won't even be able to defend his third from a counterattack. Same as what happened in this game. It is all about holding this attack. Why? Because you have 3 hatcheries. You are Zerg. You, the moment you hold this, can fully saturate all 3 bases within about a minute, have 6 gases, full tech, 4th base on the way, and you are completely unstoppable. So all you need to do is crush this attack, and even if you were even slightly down in workers, your economy would eclipse his with even just one minute, maybe 2 minutes of there being no pressure because you killed his army. So it's actually really important for you to focus on that. If you just kill the army here, you will explode way out of control and nothing else matters. So things like +1 range, roach speed, lair, these are not important. I'm okay with you making a lair because who knows, maybe he's proxy to Dark Shrine, right? Who knows what the hell is going on. Maybe that's a bit of a safety against invisible units. But going for the lair and the +1 range and the roach speed, none of these things helped here. Luckily, you did have enough units to defend, and they do help you a little bit later. The more important thing is just winning that one fight. Pure Ravager-Ling Roach unupgraded. The fight and the game is almost always going to be decided at that point. So always try to think of things that way. I see a ton of people die to certain random attacks, and they're like, oh, I just needed to get Hydras out. And I'm like, but it was a 2-base all-in. Right?
Yep.
If they're all in and you're on 2-base and you're going for a lair tech unit, it's like you're never going to have that upgrade finish. You're never going to have the critical massive Hydras. So against any attack really that's kind of early-ish in the game, Roaches, Ravagers, Zerglings, these are your core units. So I think a mixture of once in a while analyzing a Protoss game, especially when they get you with the timing, and saying, oh, wait a second, this guy had no follow-up here. It'll really help you appreciate how gimped they are if you just stop that one attack. And yeah, you'll just really focus on that. As it was, you did pretty well here, but just remember, compare this to a normal game, and we'll see how we go. When we get another replay of hopefully a more normal build, we'll look at that and we'll point out all the differences again, and we'll be like, oh look, the third's down. Most importantly, there's a second tech structure and only 3 gateways, or at most 4 gateways. You know, you'll see a very different flow to the Protoss build order. And you start to really be like, oh, these differences are obvious. Every time you scout them, you'll really get it. Now, this is from the mid-game onwards. You've got the game in the bag, but I still noticed quite a few mistakes. This is exactly where I wanted to look at a very specific moment of the game, and I wanted to grill the shit out of you. So put your armor on. Don't let your ego get hurt. I'm going to point out that you often get very distracted at this stage of the game. What are you missing right now at this exact moment of this game? In this replay?
My main base. Minimap.
Oh yeah.
Minimap.
And how long was it there for? I think it was for like almost a minute. Let's see, maybe a little bit less. It felt like a minute for me, but yeah, you saw it about 7:35. I was staring at it and I was there frantically like boxing it, circling it on the minimap, and I was like, guys, I'm not going to tell him. I want to watch you in your natural state and see how long it takes you to notice. And you didn't notice until the attack warning came and you'd already lost a handful of drones in the main. So there was a long time there with it just sitting there. So what I feel like is you sometimes get caught up in the mid game. Now, this is why I wanted to go back to this point and analyze what you're doing with your attention and APM. This is something which is really hard to realize in your own replays. Luckily, you've got me to point it out for you, which is what are you really doing right now? You got 1,600 minerals in the bank, 300 gas. You've only got 52 workers, so you don't have a massive economy. You've been injecting your main and your third, but you've been missing injects on your natural. So you've been doing kind of haphazard macro cycles. You're almost supply block, but you're not building overlords. And you're really focusing on your units, and you're not watching your minimap. So what this tells me is there's like a little bit of disorganization in terms of how you're doing things. So I want to specifically pay attention to the macro. You're going to go back to your main now, drop an inject in your main macro hatch, and inject on your natural. You then built some units and then injected your third. That's exactly the sort of thing I knew once I noticed you're not watching that prism, I knew this is something we'd find, which is disorganized macro. You're going inject, let's build some units. Now let's go and inject another hatchery. what this is haphazard macro. It's disorganized macro, right? You should always be going inject, 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 then build units, then build overlords. Because you're kind of doing it in a bit of a weird order, you're wasting more APM, and most importantly, it's not happening automatically, which means a lot of your active focus, your mental energy is being used on this, when what you should be using your mental energy on at this stage of the game is thinking, how many workers do I think I have? I've probably got about 50 workers. His third's being killed. He's probably at 50 workers max. So you're weighing up the economy. What else are you thinking about? You're thinking about, you know what? With his composition, a drop in his main would do really well. Like, you're thinking about all these different things, and most importantly, your eyes are freed up because everything's automatic and you're staring at that mini-map because you've done it 1,000 times before. It's a macro cycle. It's inject, inject, inject. Your eyes aren't even looking at the screen. They are glued to that bottom left-hand corner, or they're at least glancing down there every few seconds. And this is important to do this whenever you're macroing, because when you're microing, your distraction is going to be all over the place. You're staring different weird areas of the map. The same thing that happens to me. If you see me forget to macro, you're going to see me not even notice a drop in my base. Because when I watch the minimap is when I'm macroing, because that's when my attention doesn't have to be on the screen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because everything's centered and it's not going to be anywhere different than the 10,000 times you've done it before.
Exactly.
So your peripherals can, do their thing, I guess.
Yep. Now, do you like to build overlords or units first? I like to go units then overlords. It's just my habit. But I always go build units and I save the last few larva and then build a few overlords every time I build units, pretty much. Which way do you prefer to do that?
Honestly, I'd like to give an accurate answer, but...
Choose one. Let's choose one, and we're going to try and make it your habit for future.
Units and overlords.
Units first? Alright, that's cool. Most people don't think about this, man. Don't feel like you're the weirdo who's not organized with that. Obviously, I'm the weirdo who's like, you need to have the overlords before the unit, or the units before the overlords. And it's just about habit, right? It's about muscle memory. And so you're not like, yeah. oh, this time I forgot the overlords because I randomly changed up the order. Or this time I'm staring because my supply block, and you missed the prism on the minimap, right? So it's units and then OVs. So macro cycle is always bam, inject, inject, inject. Every hatch, build units, build overlords. You might glance at your supply while you're doing that. Be like, oh, I've got plenty of supply. I can skip the overlords this round. But other than that, you want to be watching that minimap, right? And you know what? You don't need to actively focus. A lot of people are always like, oh, how do I watch the minimap more? How do I train myself? If you just do this as a clean cycle, you'll find your attention automatically gets freed up and you're glancing at your minimap more and you're paying a bit more attention because you feel a bit more calm and in control because it's all muscle memory. So you're not having to tax yourself. It's not like you need to do some sort of laser eye training exercise or anything like that. Like, you'll just get better at it as you get a bit more organized with your spending.
Yeah, it's always a weird feeling I have when I'm watching games or something and I'm watching the minimap and I'm like, how has he not seen that? Yeah.
It's cool though because we've identified this because there's a lot of things you do really well and it's so weird because everyone has their own weird unique habits and sometimes people have these amazingly awesome habits but everyone has just as many terrible habits as good ones and there's no one that's immune. Pro players as well, you're like, this guy's a pro, how can he make X mistake, this is so dumb, what an idiot. And I always hear stuff like that and it's like, we all have these weird habits where we start wasting APM or doing kind of illogical things at a certain point in the game. So I think that's going to really help you out. The other one thing I want to point out, because I love the way you're spreading units on the map a lot more. The other thing I noticed, and I saw this yesterday in the tournament games, and I've seen it in all the ZvT coaching we've done so far, is you keep doing this thing in the mid game where you do get so caught up that I feel like maybe you're not taking a deep enough breath and saying, let's just do a full macro cycle either, and that's part of why your macro gets a bit disorganized. And you often do this thing where you click your whole army across the map into their base. And once or twice this game, you did a good thing where you clicked it to the middle or just outside their base, grouped up, and then went for an attack. But just as many times yesterday and today, I've seen you just click your units into the third base. You're distracted by something else. You look back, 50 of your Zerglings have run to their death. And this happened every Zerg vs Terran we coached in so far. I did mention it once before, but it's something where try to get in the habit of you want to go aggressive, click your units, everyone's camera, if you're not there already, click your units here. or here, somewhere out there. Let them group up, and then once you got the APM in focus, go look at them, because you bleed off so many Zerglings doing this, and not only do you bleed off Zerglings, you disrupt your own actions. Actually, we saw it just here. Watch this. So you're going to click your army into his third base. So you click your army into his third. Now you're focusing at home. What you should be doing right now is a macro cycle, but then you get an attack warning because you've clicked right into his army, and that pulls you away. So if you might have been halfway through a macro cycle, then you would have gotten pulled away. You would have had to cut the macro cycle in half and say, "Fuck, my units are dying. I've got to go deal with that." So you've got to make sure, if you instead had clicked your army to here, to the swimming pool, you, after cleaning up this warp prism on the defense, would have gone, okay, inject, 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 inject. Focus on that. Ah, my army's all grouped up on the swimming pool. Let's go in. You achieve the same thing without interrupting your own macro. So the biggest problem I think tons of players have is being like, I've got to go kill him now. Click across the map, and they just completely throw off their own cycle.
Yeah, that seeing his third base up and running, I was like, you bastard.
And look at the worker counts. Like, it was right of you to have urgency, right? Because if you left him for a bit longer, he got up Storm, but a whole bunch more Immortals. Like, you were gonna lose a game which you were way ahead in, right? Your economy is not great. You don't have any later tech. So being aggressive here is good. Just having that tiny little bit of, let's be a bit more organized with the aggression, and it would have come together. You know, your understanding of kind of where the game is still quite good in terms of, okay, I need to be pushing him right now. And you know what? You found your moment. You ripped him apart. It's the same thing that gave you the biggest title yesterday. You kept running in, finding open bases. You know, you're doing good with that. But yeah, mid-game onwards, try to clean up that macro cycle. So what I'm going to suggest here, if you do have time, and I think you said you've got time this week, right? You're going to be playing quite a bit?
I have the most time I've ever had in 2 years, I think. We're
going to give you a 10-minute homework exercise, and you give me a giant smile on my face if you do it for 20 minutes. That's what you really want, is just to make me happy, right? I don't have any other incentive other than I'm going to be very happy when I see your macro amazing the next time. But just imagine yourself with big macro muscles. You'll be the Arnold Schwarzenegger of macro. Just grind out a build and focus on the clean, neat, and organized macro cycles in that order. And you can also try to look at the minimap a little bit more. You know, try to watch the minimap whilst macroing. Try to get that rhythm down. Just do that a few empty custom games or against an easy AI. Really focus on that. Try to get that muscle memory down, and that'll help you heaps.
Cool.
Other than that, we can just focus on games. So we've been blabbering a lot there, but I think there's a few really good points in that whole little section of what we talked about. To finish up today's coaching, let's do one more game. Let's get you getting your groove. What are we focusing on? Just the basics. Don't focus on the macro cycle and stuff just now. We want to focus on you just having a nice, clean opening. Guys, any Diamond Protosses? Diamond 1 Protosses? Sorry, we spent so long in that replay. Anyone who showed up has probably left by now. If there is, guys, any roughly Diamond 1 Protosses, even if it's an off race, please hop in for us. We'd love to have that. And that should be cool.
It's like everyone's just left, and they're like, we'll just leave these two to it.
They're like, no, Pig's gone into lecture mode, man. He's gonna just talk in this replay for 20 minutes, I can tell. It's like, oh shit, you guys know me.
They alt tab and come back, and it's like, this is the science that allows spiders to talk to cats.
This is important. This needs to be talked about. I need to educate the world, man. Ponzel Zerg, yeah, okay, so he was just talking about Midnight Sun. All right, Midnight Sun's Diamond 2, but that's cool. I think, like, a lot of what we're working on is you know, transcendent. It doesn't really matter who we're playing against, as long as we've got someone who gives us a realistic situation to play against. So yeah, don't build 4 Overlords at a time and go 30 out of 79 supply. Other than that, just make sure your first Overlord's a little bit safer. Wait for Overlord speed. Get your second Overlord across the map a little bit quicker as well, just so you can have another one in case your first one takes a lot of damage and you can't scout with it. Yeah, and in terms of scouting, I'll talk you through it. I might pause after we've seen scouting and say, hey, what do you think about this one? But otherwise, just play your normal game, and
Is it
should be good.
maybe if we have time,
Mhm.
is it possible to do a like pause, play, walk through, talk through type style as well?
During this game, yeah.
Yeah, or this game, yeah, like whenever. But you know, like pause. All right, so you've seen this, seen this. Are you thinking?
I think
all in?
we'll do it with this one, yeah, for sure. I think we've got enough time. I was eating lunch, so I wanted to give you 5 minutes bonus time anyway this session, which means we've got just over 10 minutes. I think we can pause and play a little bit. Not a crazy amount, but should be good, man. You ready?
Yeah, happy.
All
Ready.
right. Let's do it. Let's do it. I think a little bit of that should be really nice. Awesome. All right, man, get in your groove, do your build. Yeah, first and second Overlord, get over there a little bit quicker. Keep doing your nice, clean opening as you have been doing. And yeah, just get in your groove. Other than that, it's just don't click your army right into his base in the mid game. Just try to, you know, have a little bit more calm macro, then focus on your attack engagement. And I think we'll see everything come together a little bit cleaner. But great map control last game. Let's keep it up this game. Already lots of improvements over the last couple of weeks. So let's keep it up, man. The biggest piggest gonna kill some Protoss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that made me crack up. Do you guys remember? Are there any Aussies in chat? If there are, do any of you guys remember? Do any of you guys remember the "This Is My Land" video with like the stupid racist guy on the train and the chick just like owns him? Do you guys remember that? If so, let me know, because I just the bit where she's like yeah. That shit was fucking great. Faye StarCraft. Pig, you're awesome. Feels good, man. Thanks, Faye. What up? How you doing? How you doing? Thanks for hanging out. TBDDD. Oh, you don't remember it? It's like one of those really, really old viral videos. Like I'm talking like 8 years ago or something. TBDD. Just some racist guy abuses this Aboriginal girl on this train, and she just like totally owns him. She's like, "This is my land, motherfucker." And then at the end, and she's just like, suck me off, bitch. Suck me off at the next station. Yeah. And I don't know. It's just like the funniest, most characterful put down of a drunk racist piece of shit ever. It's like the best thing ever. I'll try and find it later. Yeah, Nidstang knows. Nidstang, suck me off at the next station, please. Yeah. Yeah, you know the video. Oh, such a good video. Yeah, I'll Nidstang can find it and link it for you. So we're gonna focus on this game now, of course. In terms of the opening, Logic's looking pretty clean so far. Let's just keep an eye on all the little details he's doing. Make sure there's no silly mistakes. We'll pause real quick if there's any mistakes that get out of control. You know what, guys? I think I was typing notes in someone else's coaching document that I had open. I totally was. That's so funny. If Bully is still around, I had your coaching document open, lol, by accident. I'm just going to delete all those notes from there and put them in the correct document, which I had open in another thing. I wrote half my notes in your one, half my notes in his. I was like, what the hell? Did Bully get really good at Protoss at some point? Yeah, Bully getting free coaching notes for a different player. Super helpful. Yeah, links are allowed, Lumia, as long as it's not messed up shit. So it looks like you forgot Overlord speed this game, so what happened with that?
Game paused.
Hey, you can't hear you. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No worries, man.
Yeah, no, I just blatant forgot. I was just trying to.
No
I
worries,
was
man.
thinking how much is on his natural, and then I just.
No need to really
200.
think too much about the scouting at this point. It's all just normal shit. Nothing you really need to pay attention to. Let's restart real quick. Give you a nice clean opening, because we want to give you the same situation to practice from. That consistency is going to be the sweet, sweet nectar of success for us. So we're 3 minutes in. Bam. Remake, restart. Easy. And let's get that that same situation.
Mm-hmm.
Should be sick.
Did you see your YouTube famous again?
YouTube
When it was,
famous?
StarCraft highlights 180 or something. It came out like yesterday.
From
when you were
from WCS or like from like some dodgy
I
channel?
don't know. It was from your tourney when you're talking about the Overlord creeping on that zealot.
Ah.
Just like look at him throbbing.
Oh right there. Oh my god. Yeah, he was
watching it
staring
and
at
I
that
was
ass. That ass was thick.
Yeah. Zealots have been put in. Opponent?
Yo, what's up? I don't know. Midnight Sun, Quixotic, where you at? Where you at, son? Says I'm here. Reload, please. It's broked. Yep.
So how'd you pull up after that 24-hour marathon?
I was fine. Yeah, I was fine actually. I slept like 6 hours or so yesterday, which was actually really good. So I set my alarm for like over 8 hours of sleep, and then I just woke up after like 6 and was quite okay. So looking forward to a good night's rest tonight though. That should be great.
Yep.
All right, where you at, Midnight, Mr. Quigs? Quixotic. Come on. Yeah. Maybe in the clan channel? Come on. Told him to relog, maybe Alt F4. Oh, here we go. He's back. Invite to party, invite to game. Bam. Thank you, ma'am. You know what? We can. Yeah, it's gonna drag on a little bit, unfortunately. Okay, we can go for like a full half an hour. If this game goes long, we can just do a full extra half hour. Maybe add another game after this one. So we just see how we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine, man.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see what the people want.
You're the only people that matter here, man. Don't be deferring this shit to Twitch chat. Who knows what they'll say? It's like trying to get a consensus from government or something, man. It's just impossible.
We don't care about a country full of convicts. StarCraft.
That's all we care about is the craft of stars. Getting that groove. Let's do it. Good luck. All right, guys. So hoping.
Yeah, I think I forgot that Overlord at the start with a misclick.
Okay, so that's what threw him off last game. It's cool. I think that's his Discord making noise, not mine. I'm gonna turn him way down. Just way down. Apparently my highlights are really loud compared to my normal. That's weird. That's weird. Alright. I'll write down a note to fix that. Taken from my stream though, which everyone claims is mega quiet. Gotta fix that clip volume. You just started a 4th queen, you meant to start Overlord speed. Or, oh sorry, my bad. I know where we're at in the game. Keep going, keep going. That is Zergling speed, gas. You good, keep it up. Well done, Big. Well done. What are we gonna do, guys? OV speed. Yeah, there we go. I'm fucking on point. Don't you judge me. Don't you judge me, Twitch chat. Hey, Booyah. Oh, I thought I deleted them all from your session. Oh, maybe you've still got the old ones from our coaching sessions? Yeah. Great, TBDDD. Enjoy your judging while it lasts, mother trucker. Alright, so we got an Oracle on the way. Let's queue the Overlords up through, which is kind of nice, but right now he is a little bit blind. He's built a ton of Zerglings just for 1 Adept, so that's too many. And he's taken too long to reassert map control. Slow to react to scouting info.
Game paused.
Alright, so just taking a little pause moment here. So you've already got 13 Zerglings out from just a single Adept pressuring you, and you've just started another 8 Zerglings. So what's the thought process there, and why do you feel threatened right now?
The Zerglings that I have now, I was going to use about 6 of them to punch out around the map, and the ones that I just made then were going to be my defend eco for the next 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay. So what tech are you up against at this point? Do you know?
Oh, I haven't seen his main, but I can see the Overlord can see 2 larger things on the left side of his nexus.
So you've been through. Your Overlords have seen it. You just haven't kind of taken the time to look at it because you did get distracted by that 1 Adept. So I'm going to tell you now, it is a Stargate, and it's been finished for quite a while. So Spores are going to be a little bit late. Make sure your queens are well positioned. But yeah, definitely, it's a lot of Zerglings to be getting out this early. You know, it can definitely help you if he, say, comes with like at 5 minutes with a bunch of Adepts with his Oracles. But you could easily build these Zerglings reactively as well. So I feel like simply by moving an Adept across the map at a very standard timing, he has really slowed down your drone count. Whereas if you squeezed out a few more drones and then went for these Zerglings, it would be a lot more comfortable for you. For instance, you still haven't put back on gas. You know, if he was going for like a Twilight Robo sort of thing, you'd be wanting to make a Roach Warren or Baneling Nest right now. So I feel like he's really slowed down your rhythm simply by sending an Adept across the map. So I think it's important for you now to say, okay, he's gone Stargate. I got to get Spores. I got to get droning. Got to get that map control with these Zerglings. And it's not like you're massively behind or anything, but just I want to see you put a little bit of focus on catching up on those workers while trying to defend this Oracle as much as you can.
Alrighty.
Cool, cool. Let's do it. Let's do it. Are we gonna sub? No. Hey, Eskimo. Go, go. 3, 2, and 1. There we go.
Game resumed.
So he's dropping some spores. They are mega late, but he's got a queen at the natural, thankfully. Ooh, not great spore positioning. What if the Oracle just flies around, man? I told him you can put it slightly towards that side, but not like that.
Our forces are under attack.
Drone, drone, drone. Drone, 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 drone. Alright, so your spores are placed really weird. They should always be on the inside of the mineral line. You can put them kind of towards one side, but this is way too far to one side. This just gives the opportunity for a player who's a crafty son of a bitch to run around with the Oracle and kill a whole bunch of drones when you're not looking. So, you gotta be a little bit more careful with that spore placement in future. For now, just keep focusing on everything. Good luck, have fun. This is a good snipe. He should just shift click this. Keep macroing. Drone. Inject, inject, inject. Not just one hatchery. None of that lazy shit. Come on, macro cycle. Bam. Inject, inject, inject. Drones, drones, drones. And then overlords. Yeah. Should have saved the last few larva for overlords. That's fine. As larva pop out, you want to be spamming those down. You're doing good. Just got to be clean on those macro cycles. With that Zergling pressure, it was a really good moment where you could have just clicked on the Nexus and shift-clicked your Zerglings to run away afterwards, and then gone straight back to macroing, because you knew you were going to get it, and there wasn't really anything to react to, but still did pretty damn good there. Cancel is always very nice, but you got to keep macroing really hard, nice and clean. You still don't have a defensive tech structure up, so you need that Roach Warren or Baneling Nest, and you need a lair, upgrades, all of these sort of things. Keep doing another clean macro cycle, and let's go. You want to macro usually in a certain order. See the spore placement there? It's part of why that was so easy to do. Oh, he's not pulling. He's not pulling. There we go. That's okay. Remember, every time you build units, you should also be building overlords. Every production cycle, always building overlords. At this stage of the game, you have a big economy. You should be building 6 or 7 overlords at a time. Whenever you're past 100 supply, I never want to see you build 1 or 2 overlords at a time. It should always be like 6, 7 overlords. Obviously, it's a slight exaggeration, guys, but like in this scenario, he's supply blocked at 100 supply with 1,000 minerals. Building 2 overlords is just silly. You're mining over 2,000 minerals a minute. Do you know how many overlords you need to spend that many units? Oh, the technical answer is a literal shit ton. So that's what you got to get in the habit of being like, shit, man, it's better to just not get supply block and do it that way. He's reasserting his map control right now, which is good. He's just split lings everywhere. Macro cycle, full macro cycle, inject every hatch. Never just inject one hatchery. Come on. And then you build units afterwards. You always do a full macro cycle. It's always inject, then build units, then build overlords. Good shit. That's it. That's it. Yeah, so what we're doing right now is we're rooting out a deeply ingrained, terrible habit that he has. It's actually not that hard to root out. If he does the focus practice, he'll root it out within a week. Within a week, it'll be mostly out. And he'll tear it out soon after that. Because it's such a slight adjustment. All it's doing is reordering what he's doing. What he's doing is being completely haphazard, right? So I guess that's why it's easy to root out. It's not like he has any pattern we're getting rid of. It's simply getting rid of the disorganization, which is why it's so easy, right? Because he'll just be like, inject, or maybe do this, or maybe do that. You got to keep building fighting units, remember? Every macro cycle, you should be spending that larva. Alright, so, you know, you should be getting Hydras at this point. I see you're trying to go mass Zergling. Let's have a little pause here.
Game paused.
Let's have a little pause. Alright, so what are your thoughts? Composition-wise, what do you think he's going for?
I think he's going for Templar, Adept.
Templar Adept?
Archon Adept.
Yeah, like probably charge lots though, right? Like they always end up on charge lots, right? Like he might have adepts for now. Do you think he's getting immortals out?
I saw the double forge pumping, and I haven't had a mad detailed look, which I probably should have, but I haven't seen Robo yet.
That's fine.
I just had I went back to.
I mean, normally if someone's going Templar, you'd assume they're doing a pretty normal build, right? Like charge lot Immortal Archon. Even if they do adepts instead of charge lots, it's basically the same thing as far as you're concerned, right?
Yep.
So, what is your standard go-to composition in Zerg vs Protoss? It's Hydra-Baneling, isn't it?
It was until I kept getting shreked by storms and just I would just watch the storms happen and just be like, yep, I give up.
So you're massing Ling Bane this game. Well, what's the plan? Are you going Ling Bane Ultra? What's the plan?
Yeah, so I'm thinking hit the main, hit the fourth, spread his forces out instead of hitting him as one big army versus army fight because that's what I lose.
Okay, so play a kind of counter-attacky base tradey style. Yep. But what about your composition? Just kind of Ling Bane Ultra all day, Infestors, Vipers. What's the game plan? There's got to be a core game plan.
I wish I could use Broodlords more. I feel like I just naturally go more Viper or Roach Hydra.
Mm-hmm. I think.
So yeah, I think my early defense is just kind of Ling Bane defending if I see the DTs. So I like go for that lair overseas and then figure out whether I'm going to do Ling Bane Ravager or Ling Bane Hydra. And then if it's Colossus or something Robo-y, Corruptors into Broodlords or...
Yeah.
It's basically just... I have no idea. I've seen other people say it's just a constant evolving wave with Zerg, so like you hit them with basically every unit that you have because they'll keep changing their comp and you keep changing their comp. And this is where ZvP for me is just kind of
I think
random.
I think forget that. I think that's utter bullshit in Legacy of the Void. There's definitely a time in HOTS where you could swap around. You don't need to swap shit. All you need to do is be confident in what you're doing. You can either do Ravager Ling Bane or Hydra Ling Bane. They're both good against everything if you're good at using them. Doesn't matter. It just comes down to your choice, but you need to do the same thing every game so that you get good at it. And if you're saying, you know what, I'm losing those Hydra fights, that's fine. Counterattack more. You can still do that with Hydras. You can spread your Hydras out more. You get better at microing. But it's important to be confident and to not be like, well, if he's going Colossus, then maybe I'll go for like Roaches and Vipers. And if he's going for this, then maybe I'll go for this or that. You should have a core always, right? You want to have that solid tree trunk, which is good against 90% of things. And if your opponent's doing something out of the norm, then or if they're doing something which is common but requires a reaction, those are the branches that you're gonna learn of. You'd be like, he's going Colossi. All right, I need to really avoid fighting his army front on. We'll set up for a base trade while trying to get out ultras. That'll be our answer. Maybe we'll go for Broodlords. Maybe we'll go for Vipers.
I actually was after your opinion. My old ZvP was more relying on that, just a 3 roach open a push to get across, and then I'd either go into Spire or Hydra straight after that. But what I found was it was too much tech with too little drones at my level, and it was hard for me to react with spending that much so quickly, like gas-wise.
Were you getting both Hydra and Spire no matter what, and then making the decision?
Yeah, it was either Hydra or Spire. But so I'd miss a Queen because of the Roach Warren, and then if he would pop a Stargate for defense, then I'd put a Hydra Den down, and then I'd just do a Roach Hydra play and try to hit with like 2/2 or something around there. And if it was like Robos, is when I'd put the Spire down. Right.
Yeah, and that's like, yeah, very reactive, you know. That's like super like, let's try and tech and surprise them a little bit. But you can just play like a normal one. Yeah, you can just be like, man, I'm just gonna do this every game. Like, cause you're macroing really solid. You got 1 billion drones in this game, by the way. You have like 4 billion drones. Problem is you're only building Ling Bane, which like you can't really beat an army with just Ling Bane. Sometimes you can, but it's really hard, right? And you're not going for ultras, and you don't have a Hydra Den or Hydra upgrade. So in this game, you're kind of, it's like if you could just mass Hydras right now, there would be no way for you to lose this game outside of you clicking on a spot repeatedly to clump your entire army and eat storms. Like, it would be so hard for you to lose because you got such a big bank. So personally, I would say Hydra Bane, but if you'd rather open up Roaches for safety most games and do Ravagerling Bane, that's fine too. I think it's up to you. Which one kind of do you prefer as the core? And you can refine ultras off it. You can refine different transitions, but we need to at least get up some of this tech and some of these units so that you can kind of defend a push.
I think we'll stick with a Bane Hydra. See,
Alright.
they got the 2 buffs last few months, I guess.
And you know what else they get, right? There's that vial that Zerg players carry around these days, and they collect Protoss tears in, because there's one composition that Protoss players don't stop whining about. It's Hydra-Baneling, man. And I can see why. Sometimes, I play both sides of the match. I'm like, okay, yep, sometimes you just get punched in the face, and you're kind of like, what the fuck? I thought I was playing really well. There's just too much Hydra-Baneling. But yeah, let's go Hydras, man. You never want to get caught in this middle ground. Like you got 86 drones. You never want to go this high on drones, by the way. If he starts pushing, maybe you want to build like 2 dozen spine crawlers. I don't know. But for now, try to get up that Hydra Den. And should we just play Hydra Bane for life? I think we should just play Hydra Bane for life this game. Do what you were talking about. Split your army up. Keep running into his bases from 2 sides. You've got a sick economy. All you need to do at this point is mass units, right? Inject mass units and try to find your way into his economy. You ready?
Ready.
Let's go. Good luck, good luck. What did I just identify, guys? I just identified a point in the game where Logic has no idea what he's doing. This is super common. This isn't, oh man, Logic's so silly. No, this is so common. This is like every coaching session I do. People I ask people a question and they're like, oh, sometimes if they do this, I kind of do this. And like the whole thing is like not very confident. And this is not Logic. This is everyone has this about certain things in StarCraft. One of the best ways you guys can improve on your own is, I don't know where to improve. What can I do to get better? The first thing you can do is think about, what do I fucking hate seeing in a game? Oh, you know what? I suck against Protoss. Okay. What's your composition against Protoss? Sometimes, if you don't have a very clear, this is my composition, but sometimes I react with this against this, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You need to come up with a plan. You can do this for any matchup, right? That's your core plan. You can have a couple reactions if you want. That's fucking fine. But if you don't have a core plan as a thing that you just do, you've already lost half the battle, because you're going to be like second guessing yourself. You're, I don't know what I should be doing right now. Maybe I should do the thing against the thing. Nuh-uh. You start with a core, and then whenever you identify something your opponent's doing, you say, okay, I struggled against this. Should my thing beat that? I just need to do it better. Yes, it should. I just need to micro it better. Okay, I'm just going to micro better. I'm still confident with my game plan. In the rare occasion where what you're doing is actually not good, then you actually say, you know what, we need to learn a reaction. We need to learn a different branch off the trunk of our builder. And that's fine. That's fucking fine, man. But yeah, he's got Hydras everywhere, man. All right, here we go. F2, F2. All right, but he's going to split his units up. Not too bad. Big mistake he had is he just didn't roll these Banelings into the natural. So this was like, it was decent multi-prong, but it wasn't great multi-prong. Could have been better. You're doing well, you gotta remember the Hydra upgrade.
Yeah.
It's a big one, guys. Okay, so he warped in on the bottom. He counterattacked you. He might also have warped in on the top. You know you need to split off a drop defense squad for the southern side of the map, and you need to get it to go hunt and hopefully find his warp prism. Good luck. Yep. Did these Banes drop? Oh, I think they dropped on like individual units rather than the probes. Other than that, you don't want to fight him front on. You want to be splitting off units and counterattacking like a mother trucker. Remember, if you suck against storms with Hydras, grab half your Hydras and go kill one of his bases rather than fighting him front on with them. A little bit late to get that going, unfortunately. He's going to have to take the fight. Doesn't have enough Banelings here. He did a great spread. It's not going to be enough, but it is a lot better than some things we've seen in the past. So, not too bad, but could have been a little bit cleaner. We're going to talk about the multi-prong a little bit more and about how just having a good composition here would have made this game such a cinch. It would have been so easy if he went Hydras earlier. So easy. Like, Logic has certain things he does really friggin' well, but we can see ZvP, we haven't worked on it before together. Didn't know what he was doing. Just kind of was like, I'm making Ling Bane. I said, what's your composition? And he was like, I'm going to attack from the north and the south with Ling Bane. And I was like, what? Composition! We need to know what composition. He was like, well, sometimes I go Roach Hydra-Viper, sometimes I do this and this. Too much of that meant he built more drones than he needed to. It took too long to transform those drones into an army, which would punch his opponent in the face. GG, well played. Much cleaner opening that game. Things were working out nicely. We got to see the live action enjoyment of having Pig go, no, do a full macro cycle, inject a few hatches, which is one of the most fucking annoying things to have happen in your ear while you're playing. But it should be a lot easier once you've done a little bit of focused practice on that stuff. I wanted to point out those moments where you were kind of disorganized with your macro in a live game, just so you really knew what I was talking about before. But other than that, you did really well. If you'd gone for Hydras earlier and started splitting up those counterattacks that you were doing, I think you would have definitely won that game. But because you went so high on drones and the Hydra upgrade and the Hydra tech was so delayed, it took a little bit longer than it needed to. So let's hop out of this game. Let's take a look at the replay and let's look a little bit at that mid game onwards. I want to help you visualize exactly what you should be doing in that kind of multi-prong, because this is something where it's like the never-ending battle to get the perfect multi-prong. And if you ever want inspiration, watch Serral. The guy is a friggin' god of like, okay, your army's here, and like, here's 6 Zerglings in that base, and there's a Zergling drop here, and there's 2 simultaneous Baneling drops, all timed out at the exact same time. We're not going to be that good, that's fine, but we can hit 2 things at the exact same time. We can find those key spots. And the important thing is to hit with a counterattack that can't just be cleaned up by a warp-in or a single overcharge. That's where you fuck a Protoss really hard. And this is something I, as someone who plays all the races, appreciate on a very fundamental level. There's times where someone drops 8 Zerglings and I go, it's fine, my warp gates are off cooldown, I'm going to warp in 3 Zealots. Oh no, you made me warp in 3 Zealots in my base, I don't care. Or, there's times where, shit, he just dropped Banelings on my mineral line, doing a warp in isn't gonna help that after the fact. Or, oh shit, 10 Banelings crashed through my natural wall, and 15 Hydras followed them. Doesn't matter how many Zealots I warp in, they are not going to deal with that, right? So these are the sort of things where just a little bit more power, oomph, with one of your multi-prongs there would have actually totally dismantled him that game. And the weak point with the way he expanded was his natural wall. That was 100% his weak point, because his army was going to be up in the very north of this map.
Oh, okay, yep.
Yep. So you always want to think, if his army's up there, that's the spot. And if you do that once or twice, you get a bunch of damage. His army's probably going to rotate back to his natural, and you're going to swap. You're going to say, oh, 4th base is exposed, army jump on that. You know, and kind of, you're always threatening 2 places at once, right? And it's so hard for a non-god tier Protoss to defend both his 4th base and his natural. Cool. So in game, and I've written the notes down as well, so you can watch the replay and think about it later. There was little things with the macro cycle trying to always do a very neat order, which is very big. I'm not sure if it was this game or the previous one where you were at 100 supply and you built 2 Overlords, but that's definitely something as well where it's like, man, you get to this point in the game, like just there, you're almost supply blocked and you only built 3 Overlords. I would have built 5 or 6 Overlords there. And I think you should, as you build up your economy like this, once you got 3 mineral lines saturated, you know, don't be afraid to overbuild Overlords a little bit more. I think it was this game. Let's see. Is it this game? So there we go. We built a round of drones, but we forgot to build Overlords there. Oh yeah, spore placement. So
Yeah, I moved them a little bit later on.
not enough though. I think they should be more central, just in general. Like, yeah, it can be like maybe 1 or 2 hexes away from the center to the outside, right? So you wouldn't need to move them at least a full 2 spaces north, probably about three spaces north, so that it's covering most of your mineral line. Because otherwise, a sneaky Oracle player might just come in and hold position the other side of your mineral line. You might not even notice it, and you're going to lose like 7 workers, and the Oracle get out unscathed. So, yeah, just try to be very central with those spore placements. Remember, it was the same thing against Terran, where you were putting them behind the mineral line, and just putting them inside the mineral line, but maybe a little bit towards that angle, like you did it this time. Just a little bit towards, not quite as far, and it would have been great. Yeah, this is that 2 overlords I was talking about, where I was like, no, that should be 8 overlords right now. And then you built another 2, but even then I was like, man, you got 1,100 minerals in the bank. Like, once you got 3 bases, bring up your income tab.
Yep.
2,700 minerals per minute. That's every minute. That's basically 2 production cycles, which means each production cycle is about 1,300 minerals. Even if you're building the more supply efficient unit, Zergling, they're only half a supply, 1 supply for 2. How many Zerglings can we build with 1,300 minerals? What is that? That's 26 pairs. That's 52 Zergs. So 26 pairs of Zerglings. That's 26 supply every production cycle. Is that correct? That's
Yeah, I'd go with it.
let me think. 26. Obviously, you're not gonna have that much lava, but yeah, something like that. Basically, you're gonna Shit, I tried to do maths on stream. I'm a psychopath. I never should have done this, guys. Basically, it's a lot of supply. And I think that's about right. 26. So yeah, you want to be building 4 overlords to give you room to breathe, right? Because 4 times 8 is 32. So if you build 4 overlords per cycle from 3 base saturation onwards, like that's like the minimum. You build 6 or 7. Who cares? Especially if you're floating minerals at all. Doesn't matter. It's better to do it ahead of time than the other way around. 20. Okay, chat's confirmed. I was actually right. Apparently, I'm not as suicidal as I thought. So yeah, other than a few small things with that, dude, look at this. Look at this game. If you already had your Hydra upgrade going and Hydra's pumping out, you'd be maxed out pretty much in the next 20 seconds. What's he got right now? He's got Storm just starting. He has 6 Immortals and Storm not even done. He could be game over right now. If you were just hitting him before 10 minutes with a max of Hydra-Bane, half your army hits the natural, half the army hits the top. You go, oh shit, his whole army's at the top. Pull back from there. Let the army crash through his natural. It's game over. Right there. So your macro muscles were really flexed this game. Now that you are confident that you are going Hydra-Baneling every game and only reacting with other things in very special circumstances, honestly, I think you're going to be just smashing it, man.
I saw the Swarm host with Vibe that you played before.
Yep, Imba hosts, yep.
But I think that's a pretty... you got to have some god tier level skill to pull that off, I think.
Yeah, it's like a skill unto itself, and with Swarmos getting a massive move speed nerf off creep in the new balance, it is definitely something which it's kind of the wrong time to start learning it, I think, since within the next 2 months it's probably going to change. It's a bloody good style. I think anyone can learn it with practice once they think about how it works, right? You have to get over there and use those locusts effectively as early and as often as possible to get value. But I honestly don't think you need to do that. If we look at this attack here, what's wrong with how you did this? Not that much. This was nice. Running a few banelings into the mineral line. This is cool. It's a low cost way to try and get some damage done. The Zerglings though, not really that important, I think. I feel like you kind of look at this area and you're like, yeah, maybe click some banelings in both mineral lines. But your key focus, like I said, should be, well, he's usually going to have his main army at his newest expansions, right? Kind of, they expand towards the front. That's where the army is. Rather than wasting your APM on this drop, which was nice but didn't do anything, if you simply shift-clicked these banelings that you morph down here in the bottom, and you're like, hey, dudes, you run them up to the natural, smash through the adept with like a ton of lings and banes. Even better if you've got 10 plus Hydralisks with it, but even with Ling Bane, you can do it. you're going to get in there and you're just, even with overcharge, you're just going to fucking overwhelm the natural. Your Banes will run in and kill all the workers. You get in the main base. And yeah, if you've got 10, 15 Hydras, he needs to bring his whole army back to deal with that. So it just screws your opponent. And you can often kind of queue these things up a little bit as well. Like if there's a pylon in the wall at all, you literally just make 20 Banelings down here and you just shift click pylon, shift click into mineral line. And you don't even fucking look at it. It's like the laziest thing ever. And this is how you make Protoss players angry, right? Remember, think about it from what the other side complain about and what they think is bullshit. Oh, the Zerg can just run Banelings into mineral lines constantly. The Zerg can just make Hydra-Bane and it just beats anything. Obviously, as long as we do it early enough before enough Storm and masses of Archon Immortal happens, it's kind of true. But the main thing is the Baneling run-bys. Little Zergling drops are something where you shouldn't be wasting your APM on this, right? So you do drop that, and then you also focus on it as well. You're like, click on that click on that mineral line. This should have just been you telling it to drop in the mineral line from the start, so you don't have to look back at this drop, right? It would have already killed a ton of probes in that main base. So you want to be doing things with as few actions as possible. You, in this scenario, what are some other things which I would say? I would say every now and then, send a few Zerglings up there. Either steal them off a hotkey or use your deselecting mechanic to send 4 to 8 Zerglings. Every now and then, all you do is you box them, you go up there, you morph Banelings, and you click them in the mineral line. Never even look at them again. That's it. 90% of the time, that's going to kill probes. Often a lot of probes. So those sort of really low APM harassment tools are important because your main focus should be on your main army or your big counterattack that runs in the natural and tries to smash that down. That's where most of your APM should be. That and hunting down douche prisms, which we see were very douchey on this map in 2 locations.
He focuses on his natural, pulls his army back, and then those units I've got up north, not in this game, but fictionally.
Yep.
Come in, hit these probes. He panics a bit, doesn't know where to warp in.
Yep, and that's main armies we're talking about. Just to clarify, that's your army sitting in half, right? So this is not, you don't do that if you're just doing a few Banelings running into a mineral. Oh.
So is it
sorry, I accidentally muted. Just to clarify with what you were saying there, absolutely spot on, but it should be your main armies, right? If you're just clicking a few Banelings in, he's not going to react to that much. You don't need to worry about that, right? You just click it in, but in terms of splitting your army in half and hitting the 4th, he goes to react, you hit the natural, or vice versa. Absolutely spot on. That's going to do so much damage for you, man. So watch from his point of view, and you can kind of see he'd be screwed, man. Watch from his camera at 10 minutes and try to think about what he does if you rocked up with a bunch of Hydra-Bane at his 4th and his natural right now. He's just got nothing. Couple High Templar, couple Zealots and Immortals, yeah. But there's always going to be that point if you let him off this greedy bloody double forge plus storm, make High Templar before making any other units opening. You let him do this sort of stuff, like he's going to run away with the game really fast. That's just the nature of it.
Send those lings to go try for those High Templar.
That stasis just finished as well. It was super clutch. lucky stasis. But yeah, you can see he's kind of dealing with that, right? Those attacks, because they were all in the same spot over this little thing. Like those 2 attacks, like if you just click the Banelings in alone, it would have got the same damage done. He hasn't even looked in his main at the drop yet. We're on his camera, by the way. I hope you are as well. And then it's like, oh, and then the Zerglings jump in. But he's found the APM to send out a Zealot counterattack, and that's going to buy him a whole bunch of time. And time is all he needs, because check out his supply. All he needs is a few more moments to stabilize, and his army is going to be pretty much unkillable. Yeah. GG's. All right. So pretty good game. Pretty good game overall from yourself. Honestly, like I said, just being clear with your game plan and your composition is going to be the most important thing. You know, there's so many things you can hear from people saying, oh, you know, it's all about shifting from this to this and back and forth. Or you've got to pick apart the Protoss. You've got to be really clever. Go Mutas or go Hydras or do this, that. And that stuff was really good back in HOTS. But I feel like in Legacy, just be confident with one composition And sometimes you can come up with a rule for changing it up. But most of the time, 80% of the time, maybe more, you're making Hydra-Bane, you're going to get out there, you're going to do it well. You're going to do some nice multi-prong, you're going to rip your opponent's face off, fucking brutally tear it to pieces, scream at the moon like a Wolverine or some shit, and then collect some Protoss tears in a vial and go back to enjoying ZvP on ladder.
Yeah, I need to hang those tears around my neck.
Hells yeah, man. You could have a necklace of Protoss ears and shit, like steal their crystals and crush them to pieces while they cry. It should be great, man.
Well, my soul dies when I see the Immortal just stay alive, alive after so many roaches. It's like, come on, man.
Dude, yeah. The heroic holds that I have made against roach pushers with Immortals, where I'm like, ooh, and I'm just pulling them back, and then there's like the triple overcharge goes down, and there's like Immortals popping out one at a time, and like I've got the 16 kill Immortal that's had 6 barriers activate over the course of this 6-minute non-stop battle. Look at the resources lost. I've lost 1,000 resources. The Zerg's lost 4,500, and I'm like, yeah, roaches attacking versus Immortals isn't that great, especially if they don't have roach speed and there's pylons and force fields around. Doesn't work out too well for the Zerg. But yeah, Hydra-Bane, Bane, you know, you're gonna find such big windows to get damage done, and you can always look at a replay. And if you go into that multi-prong and it doesn't work, load the replay. You're like, oh, he had 180 supply when I started attacking him. I think I might have fucked up early on in this game. You know, it's very, very clear. You should always be attacking before they get up the storm arc on Immortal ball of fuckery. So, I think honestly, what are the biggest things? You do the 10 minutes of homework that we've talked about, as we do have to finish up now. We are over the hour and a half time, so let's let's wind up. That homework, honestly, you do that 10 minutes every day. Bonus points if you do it 20 minutes. Hop into a custom game, do a build, and focus on that macro cycle being BAM in that order. BAM, you know, inject, 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 build units, build overlords. Inject, 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 build units, build overlords. As it becomes more natural, you will automatically find yourself watching that minimap more while you're macroing, and we will never again see a drop or a prism idle in overlord vision next to your main base for a full minute without you noticing. Because that happened in one of the ZvT games. I think you were playing U-Triple, right? In one of our coaching sessions?
Yeah, like his units were dismounted, or whatever you call them in StarCraft. And
yeah,
like,
dismounted.
Yeah, and I'm like, I saw it and I was like, that's embarrassing. Everyone look away.
Look away. It happens, man. I do that sometimes where I open up a replay and I'm like, so the storm drop accidentally idled next to an overlord for 40 seconds. Didn't notice it, came in and killed 40 workers. And I'm like, there's that bit of disgust with yourself. But it's a game with 4,000 things happening. Everyone makes mistakes. As much as we try to think of some mistakes as unforgivable, every unforgivable mistake happens to everyone once in a while. Zest once cannon rushed in the final game of a Pro League round finals and lost his only probe for no reason and floated 1,800 minerals without doing anything. He just it was like a goat, deer in headlights, you know, fainting goat or some shit like that. If that can happen to Zest, you know what? We can not notice a warp prism on the minimap once or twice. That can happen. Happen to everyone. It's a complex game. Tons of mistakes we can make. Do that practice on the macro cycle. Try to feel a little bit more in control in the mid game as a result of that. Other than that, we talked a little bit about understanding the Protoss openings. Like I said, I want you to go watch some more of those Protoss openings. Look at the macro ones and look at the more all-in ones, and you're really going to notice, it's a macro. Okay, he's got multiple tech structures or forges and this sort of stuff. He's going for a third before 5 minutes usually. The other ones, it's always so much more obvious. It's like, he doesn't have gas on his natural and he's got 6 gateways at 4 minutes. Like, okay, you know, like there's these big signs. Extra gateways beyond 4, especially early on. That's a big tell. Robo first is a pretty big tell. Often they're going to be just, you know, getting, what else can they do other than get a prism and attack you with it? Yeah, these are the sort of things. And you've thought about it. If they don't take a third, where do you want to stop drones? 8 drones on your third base. 3 gases, pump out units. You've got that marker in your head now. Whenever you identify what you think might be a 2-base all-in, that's the maximum droning you go to. Cool.
Happy with that.
Cool bananas. Cool, man. All right, I've got to run. But this was a good session. Hit me up if you want to do another session later this week. But just let me know how it's going, and we'll keep it loose.
Yep.
Awesome, man. Have a good night.
Thanks, man.
I'll catch you later, my friend.